Living from the end. We all know it's effective, but why is it so difficult for people to implement it? And most importantly, what can you do about it? What can you do to make it easy? This is what I'm going to talk about today. What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from Seraph.com. I'm a manifestation coach, and today's video is about living from the end, why it is so difficult for most people to do it, and how to actually fix this so that you can easily live from the end of all your desires. If you're new here and you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of attraction and Neville Goddard's teachings, then start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you won't miss any video that could change your life. And if you need some extra help or my personal advice for your situation, you can sign up for coaching. I also have a 21-day course on how to manifest your specific person, as well as other courses and exclusive merch, and you can find the links to all of that in the description below. So here's the reason why you struggle to implement living from the end. The reason most people struggle to implement living from the end when it comes to manifesting is because we are used to assigning a specific meaning to things, and we cannot get out of that old story. We cannot get out of the meaning we're used to assigning to things. What does that mean? Nothing in your reality has inherently any meaning. Nothing in your reality, nothing that happens, nothing that you see, nothing that you hear, nothing that you observe has any meaning. Things by themselves don't mean anything. The only meaning that anything in your reality has is the meaning that you chose to give to that thing. And people tend to get stuck into those meanings that they assign to things. Let me give you a few examples so that you get what I mean. For example, chocolate. Many people have a meaning assigned to eating chocolate. The meaning is, when I eat chocolate, I get fat. Chocolate is fattening. Chocolate is bad for me. That's a meaning that you assign to chocolate. Chocolate by itself doesn't mean anything, and chocolate by itself cannot manifest anything in your reality. It cannot manifest anything, including getting you fat. That's a meaning that you assign to chocolate. Sometime in your life, you decided, or you read somewhere and you accepted it as a fact, that chocolate makes people fat. So every time you eat chocolate, even if you don't consciously think about it, because you have assigned that meaning to chocolate, you may get fat. You could assign any meaning you want to chocolate. You can assign the meaning, chocolate makes me feel good, which is also something that people assign as a meaning to chocolate. So many people believe at the same time that chocolate makes me happy and chocolate also makes me fat. So when they feel disappointed, when something bad happens in their life, they eat chocolate and immediately they feel better, and then they feel guilty because they believe that they're going to be fat because they eat chocolate. And both things happen. They get happier by eating chocolate because that's what they believe. And if they keep doing it every day, they start getting fatter because that's what they believe is going to happen, because that's the meaning they assign to chocolate. Or another scenario. Let's say you want to manifest your ex back, and you're going about your day and you pass by a cafe and you spot your ex with another girl, and you assign the meaning, he's dating her, that means he's not interested in getting back together with me. You may also assign the meaning, if you have been trying to manifest him back for a while, that you're not a good manifester. You assign meaning to things. The problem with that is, we have many default meanings that we never examined, like chocolate makes me fat, for example, or if he's with that girl, it means that they're dating and it cannot mean anything else. And the whole of our reality manifests based on the meaning we assign things. So if you have many things that you have assigned a default meaning to, and that meaning doesn't serve you, doesn't help you live from the end, doesn't help you manifest this desire, you're essentially stuck in your old story. You're stuck inside your head because you have all those meanings, all those things that you take as a fact. And there is no room for you to see anything else. So you're trying to live from the end, from I am fit and thin and I can eat whatever I want and never get fat. And at the same time, because you've attached the meaning to chocolate that it makes you fat, you feel guilty every time you eat chocolate, and you cannot basically imagine a world where you can have chocolate and it won't make you fat. Or if it comes to manifesting that ex back, you are so stuck on this specific meaning of if I saw him with another girl, that means that they are together, and that has to mean that he's not interested in getting back together with me, that you cannot imagine anything else being true. You take this as a fact. And that's why people usually ask me, how can I live in the end if all the facts say that my desire is not here? Those are not facts. Those are things. Things do not have meaning in your reality. You created all of them. It's like asking me, what does it mean that I have a table in my living room? Well, it means that you bought a table. It doesn't mean anything else other than you chose to get a table and you went to the store and you bought a table. It doesn't have any other meaning. End of story. That's the only meaning. Why? Because you created it. It's the same with everything in your reality. So all those things that people feel make it so hard for them to live from the end, all those things that pull them out of the state of the wish fulfilled, out of living from the end, they are not facts. It is not the fact that something happened that is pulling you out of your state. It is not the fact that you saw your ex with another girl that makes it so hard for you to live from the end. It is not the fact that you love eating chocolate that is making it so hard for you to manifest losing weight. It is not the thing itself that is having any effect in your life. It is not the thing itself that is making it difficult or easier for you to do anything. The problem is not with the thing that happened. The problem is with the meaning that you assign to that thing, with the meaning that you attach to that thing. The problem is with the fact that the only way you can explain this, that the only way you choose to explain this, in other words, the only meaning that you give to this is that they're dating and he doesn't want to be back together with you. And you think that this is a fact, that this is the only explanation. But it's not. It's the one you chose. You could have chosen 100 different explanations for this, from the simplest ones to the most outrageous ones. But we don't do this because we're stuck on explaining specific things in a specific way just because that's how we used to do it all of our lives. But this is not how manifesting works. Now you know that you manifest everything, which means that now you have the option, you have the choice to take that thing that happened and explain it completely differently. So here's the actual technique that I want you to use. Pick a desire. It can be a desire that you're already working on, or you can apply this to a completely new desire. But I want you to pick a desire and promise to yourself that for the next 2 weeks, no matter what manifests in your reality, you are going to come up with an explanation that actually supports the fact that your desire is already here. I don't care how simple or outrageous that explanation is. If something happens that would normally pull you out of the state of the wish fulfilled, if something happens that makes you feel that you're fooling yourself into believing that this will ever manifest, I want you to stop and force yourself, get yourself to provide at least one alternative explanation that actually makes this thing that you saw negatively up until now, act as proof that your desire is actually manifesting. And this will require imagination. And this is the second reason why this exercise is so important and can break you out of all your blocks. Because the second problem when it comes to living from the end that I encounter with many people is that we have been taught that imagination is a bad thing, that we shouldn't imagine, that we shouldn't live with our head in the clouds. So many people actually cannot allow themselves to imagine big enough. They imagine things only if they feel that they are within the realm of possibility. And many people do not dare come up with a scenario themselves unless I have a video that explains step by step exactly the scene that they need to imagine. They feel that they cannot make up a scene on their own. But nobody lacks imagination. Imagination is something that all humans have. You have it, I have it, everybody has it. The only issue, if you feel that you cannot imagine, is that you haven't exercised it enough. Probably because someone told you enough times during your childhood that imagination gets you nowhere, that it's not useful, and if you want to be a success in life, you need to focus on what is real and stop living in your head, stop making stuff up, stop imagining things. But now you know that manifesting works through your imagination, which means that you need to practice. You need to exercise your imagination. You cannot always rely on me or anybody else having a video or a post or a full description of the exact scene that you need to use in order to manifest something. If you do not exercise your imagination, you will always live in a reality that isn't very imaginative, that isn't very interesting, that isn't very intriguing, because you do not allow yourself to imagine it intriguing. And this is the second reason why people get so stuck when it comes to living from the end. They have stopped allowing themselves to imagine something better than what they see in their physical reality, that unless they have physical proof, they just cannot see it in their mind. That's a matter of practice. We used to do that when we were kids. It didn't require any effort. It was easy for us. When we are kids, we have imaginary friends and we can spend 3 months imagining that we already have that puppy, even though our parents say, you will never get a puppy, get it out of your mind. But it's no problem for us. We keep living in our imagination and we manifest things. But as adults, many people just do not allow themselves to imagine, and this gets you stuck. In order to manifest something different than what you have right now, you need to be able to allow yourself to actually imagine it, to actually imagine having it. And the second reason people stop themselves from being able to imagine freely something different, something joyous, something outrageous that they want, is that we have this inner mechanism that is trying to protect us from getting hurt. So if you have been burned many times before in any area of your life, if you believe that something would happen and it would change your life, and you just fell flat on your face, many people have this inner mechanism that stops them from being actually able to imagine and fully feel how it would be if they had something that they wanted, that they want badly, because they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to feel all those emotions and actually believe that this can happen in their lives only to be crushed again. And this is very understandable, but those were the rules before you discovered manifesting. Manifesting works by fully allowing yourself to experience that thing in your imagination. That's what living in the end is. It is fully living and experiencing that thing that you want as if it's your reality right now. So go out with it. And this is why this exercise, even though it may seem very simple and even stupid to some people, is extremely important because it breaks you out of the things that you imagine are possible. If you force yourself to come up with 10 explanations of a specific event that are actually positive instead of negative, it may be hard at first, but your mind will get the hint that this is what you wanted to do from now on. It's like brainstorming. When people are not used to brainstorming for ideas, especially in a group, they usually believe they don't have any ideas. And the ideas that come to their mind, they never say them out loud because they think they're bad ideas. And when I work with a group of people for a project, I usually tell them, spit out any idea that you have, even if it is outrageous, even if it is completely stupid. Just say it, because if you don't say it, your brain gets the message that, oh, I came up with that when you asked me that question, and you don't like it, so you probably don't want me to keep thinking ideas on this. Okay then. And it stops. The flow of creativity, the flow of imagination stops. But if you put everything out there, even if it sounds stupid, even if you end up rejecting it in the end, if you just spit it out instead of judging it and go on, your brain will provide the next idea and the next idea. And it's the same when it comes to giving new meaning to things. If you take an event that is negative, that you are used to seeing it one way and one way only, and you cannot even imagine how this could have any alternative explanation, and tell your mind, brain, give me an alternative explanation. How could this mean anything else? Give me at least one alternative meaning, even if it is completely crazy. And when this meaning pops into your brain, you write it down and say, okay, next, what else could this mean? And then when that comes to you, you ask yourself, next, what else could this mean? You will realize that you can find 10 different explanations, 10 different meanings for that same situation that are not negative, that are actually positive. When before you were stuck in this has to mean that. There is a popular meme that is going around in law of attraction groups online. I've seen it on Instagram, I've seen it on Facebook, I've seen it in many places that says, I messaged him 30 minutes ago and he hasn't replied yet. He must have fainted from joy. Now, this may sound funny, but it actually is an alternative explanation that is in line with living from the end. So if you message someone, if you message the guy you like, if you message the girl you like, if you message your ex, and it's been a while and they haven't replied to you, what could the meaning be that would explain why they haven't replied to you? That doesn't mean that they don't want to be with you. That doesn't mean that they're rejecting you. That doesn't mean that they're with another girl or another boy or another whatever. That doesn't mean that they're avoiding you. And see, one explanation, outrageous, stupid explanation, but still an explanation that is in line with living from the end, with living as if your desire is already true, is already happening, is he was so happy when he saw my message that he fainted. It sounds stupid, but it is in line with what you're trying to manifest. So what else could explain it? What else could you come up with that explains what happened without having a negative meaning attached to it? What is another positive way of explaining this? Another way that is in line with what you're trying to manifest? Another way that is in line with living from the end of this desire? I don't want you to come up with things that you fully believe in. I just want you to come up with alternatives. Because if you keep doing this, eventually you will find explanations that you can actually believe in and they are in line with living from the end. But if you never practice this, you will always be stuck on, I saw him at that cafe, and that means that because he was with this other girl, that means that he doesn't want to get back together with me. Well, alternative explanations. Come on, let's do this. So, number one, this is actually his girlfriend, but because he misses me so much and he's ready to call me and tell me that he wants to be back together with me, they're meeting so he can break up with her. That's one explanation. Alternative explanation number two, this is his cousin. Alternative explanation number three, this is a co-worker. Alternative explanation number four, this is his sister. Alternative explanation number five, wow, his mom must have had him when she was really young because she looks so young now. You can come up with anything. Instead of picking that one explanation that you're so convinced is true, that just negates all the living from the end work that you've done up until now. So I challenge you, pick one desire and tell yourself that for the next 2 weeks, no matter what happens around that desire, you're going to find alternative explanations for that event that you normally would term as negative, until you end up with something that not only is positive, it actually supports and acts as proof that your desire is already here, until you find an explanation for the event that is actually in line with your living from the end. Do that for 2 whole weeks. Every time something happens, every time something that would pull you out of your state happens, and see how your life is going to change. This is a powerful technique. It can truly change your life, and I hope that you actually put it into use. And if you like this video, then hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because I put out new videos every Sunday to help you manifest an amazing life. Thank you so much for watching.